How you guys doing? It's Nightmare Comics 1. Third attempt at doing this, but this is my next installment to the series that does not have a name. um Pretty much if you don't know, in my Hulk Future Imperfect review, I pretty much said that I was going to take uh the main Avengers cast of the movie and take every main character. Like the reason why I say main character, cause I'm not gonna do Nick Fury, cause that'd be stupid. I'm not gonna do Maria Hill, but I'm gonna do Hawkeye, Captain America, Iron Man, Black Widow, and this video will be Thor. But and I guess now I'm gonna do Loki, especially after doing the Thor one. But I pretty much review my favorite story, not necessarily the best story, but my favorite story with each character. You know what I mean? And the reason why I say not necessarily my favorite story, I mean not necessarily the best story, is because this book I'm about to review is definitely not the best story of all time. I can tell you right now, the debut of Beta Ray Bill is probably better than this. The entire Eternal saga is probably better than this. Was definitely better than this. And the Beta Ray Bill story definitely better than this. Frog of Thunder, as silly as it is probably better than this. That's the first Thor story I ever read, by the way. Um, what's some other ones? The Surtur. What's the name? The Surtur saga. The Odin versus Surtur. That's probably better than this. Um, JMS's relaunch is. I would have chose that. Problem is that I feel like his entire run is great, so I can't really point out a necessarily a story which will cause problems for my next character that I do. So yeah, but I would have chose that though, cause that's how much I actually loved that. I thought JMS, he did a good job after the story that I did chose. You know what I mean? Kind of picking up, after what happened with that. And the story that I did choose was Avengers Disassembled Ragnarok. Now I know what y'all thinking. Avengers Disassembled was insanely disappointing. It did not feel epic at all, and in all honesty, it really didn't do much. You know what I mean? And the story itself is not that great. I know that's what y'all think. I know that's exactly what y'all thinking. But this part of that overall story was phenomenal because A, it didn't have anything to do with that nonsense that was going on, to be honest with you, and B, it was kind of like, well, here's the thing: people that really like this story, well, people that like this story, they really like this story. I'm one of those people that like this story, which means I love this story. You know what I mean? People that don't like this story really hate this story. You know what I mean? It's kind of no middle ground with this book. Like it's either you got this or you didn't. You know what I mean? And I got this. I got exactly what they were trying to do, and what Oming was trying to do. And homegirl that used to draw the cross gen comics, Andrea DeVito, I think that's her name. But yeah, she used to draw cross gen books, and she drew like some of the what ifs back in the day. But I think she drew like what if Aunt May died instead of Uncle Ben, which is actually a really good what if you never read that. Um, but it's actually the opposite of what you may expect, to be honest with you. Um, and that's a really dope one. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. I'll probably review that at some point. But yeah, like this story here is it's kind of like a best of everything that's ever happened with Thor. You know what I mean? Ragnarok. We all know this has happened before. You know what I mean? It's happened before, and they actually delve into that during the story. You know what I mean? Um, they make reference to when he lost his way, the Daniel Jurgens run when he lost his way and became an evil dictator. You know what I mean? And that whole run is amazing. That the raining and I forget the story that follows it, but they're all like kind of part of one thing. The raining is kind of like the main story where Thor becomes like the king of New Asgard and puts Asgard on Earth, even though and kind of just like is like evil dictator now, like I said, and like Loki's like his like his ambassador, and and that story is cool too, but I ain't gonna go into that. That's You should check that out though. But what was I saying? Fuck, I lost my train of thought. But yeah, like it delves into that. Every major Asgardian you ever cared about is referenced or either in this story. There's a really, really, really awesome, not necessarily the cameo, but like an awesome, like just like moment. Like when you read this, at least for me, because I read this when it first came out, and I've read this like a few times afterwards. You know what I mean? And when I saw this particular character, I was like, yes, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's a lot of yes moments in this book. Um, I thought the end was actually made a whole lot of sense. You know what I'm saying? Like if you've been reading Thor for as long as I have, the end makes a whole lot of sense. You know what I'm saying? It was a good way to kind of write off the Asgardians. You know what I mean? Because this was the last time we saw Thor for like 4 years. You know what I'm saying? So it was kind of a good way for them to write him off. You know what I mean? And to be honest with you, I feel like the only thing that tied into this event, that tied into Avengers Disassembled, was the end of all things, the end of Asgard, because Thor is one of the main members of the Avengers, and Captain America and Iron Man in like the prologue. Even though Avengers Disassembled, the stories weren't necessarily connected, but like you can all tell they were all kind of going on at the same time. You didn't really get that feeling with this. It kind of felt like its own thing, which really helped it because, as I said, Avengers Disassembled is not a very good event at all. So, but I'm just gonna touch on the plot a little bit. I'm not gonna give away anything at all, but I'm just kind of touch on the basis of the plot. Um, Loki is pretty much, up to his old tricks, trying to, take over Asgard again. Thor fights him. His hammer gets broken, and he goes to Earth to pretty much, get help or whatever. And then he brings back Iron Man and Cap, and they get there and they get into a battle with Loki and his new monster, which I'm not gonna ruin because that shit is awesome. Um, and afterwards, they barely survive what's going on. Thor finds out that his mother's dead. Also Balder, I think it's Balder. I'm pretty sure it's Balder too, but I'm about I'm about 70% sure it's Balder. I hadn't read this in a couple years. I read it a bunch back in the day. Hadn't read it in a couple years though. Um, but yeah, like he finds that out and he sends Cap and Iron Man back to Earth because he tells them that this isn't necessarily a battle. Like kind of let us Asgardians deal with this because this ain't your home. And he said he would feel bad if something happened to them and that's not even their home. You know what I mean? And a very Thor-like thing to do. And pretty much is him trying to stop the end of all things from taking place. But something has to happen for that to happen that is very unexpected. Thor has to do something that he he wouldn't necessarily do, you know what I mean? And as I said, the end makes a lot of sense, yo, cuz without ruining it, in the history of Thor, as much as I love this character, his stories are rather redundant. And if this was the last Thor story ever told, you know what I mean? Like this would kind of be enough, you know what I mean? And when it happened, I kind of felt like this was enough, you know what I mean? Because it even kind of poked fun at the fact it was redundant, you know what I mean? Like Thor is kind of redundant, you know what I mean? And the way it ended actually made sense, and if everything ended that way, I would have been cool with that. However, JMS came along, and that's great in itself. You know what I mean? But if this would have been the end, I would have been cool. Like I said, um, would I recommend this book? If you are a longtime Thor fan and you read the graphic novels and you see what I'm talking about with the redundance or whatever, I would say definitely check this out because I think you would get this more than people that aren't necessarily fans of Thor. You get what I'm saying? But I love this book. I absolutely love this story. Well, ain't no almost. I love pretty much everything about it. It's definitely my favorite story that is focused on Thor. You know what I mean? It's not my favorite Asgardian tale, which I will review soon because I love that book. I love that book. Here's a hint. Um, here's a hint of what it is. Marvel not too long ago made a motion comic of it and called it a slightly different name. So think about that. Um, that's all I'm saying. Just think about that. But anyway, signing out of this video. As I said, I wouldn't necessarily recommend this, but if you like Thor and you've been reading Thor and you kind of just in and out of Thor, then I could, then I would say at least pick this up. You know what I mean? Because I think and Omen got it. Omen got, I got what he was trying to do. You know what I mean? I totally got it. He's a fan just like me. He gets Thor. You know what I mean? And he gets and I love Thor. I keep saying this. I love Thor, but it is very redundant. You know what I mean? And he kind of got that, but like it's almost like he was telling the reader, yes, I know Thor can be very redundant, and I know the stories can be the same a lot of the time, but let's see if I can give you an ending, because at the time, even though nothing's final in comic books, Marvel had given us pretty much the all the signs that this would be the last time we see anyone from Asgard. You know what I mean? Because the book was not selling well, as I already said, and Avengers Disassembled. This is Marvel's big event, so they ain't scared to kill nobody. You know what I mean? So they gave us that impression, and I think Omen kind of realized that, hey, you know, it's redundant, but we have to give them a finale that they can actually believe. So let's just make this a best of. You know what I mean? And that's what he did. And I thought, on most levels, it worked. You know what I mean? It really worked for me. But anyway, y'all, the next one will probably be Iron Man, and this will be probably the most difficult one, to be honest with you, because I'll explain why in the video, but I don't want to do what I think I might do for Iron Man, but I guess we'll find out. But I'll holler at y'all later. Take care.